Hello, and welcome to the Finny Games. It's your host, BBG, aka BrokeBlackGamer. What's good, my fellow BGs? Today I wanted to create a video going over what's actually inside of my PC. This isn't going to be a benchmark video, and it's not going to be a review going over the technicality and specifications of my PC build. It's just simply going to be me listing my parts and the prices that I paid for the parts, and we'll hit two birds with one stone. For the subscribers who were telling me that they wanted to get into PC gaming, this will give you a general idea of all the parts that you'll need and a general idea of some of the prices that you might see, and maybe we'll have some similar interest in parts. The first part that's inside my PC that I want to go over is the 4080 Super. This has been a very interesting card to me, in my opinion, because it's the first 80 class card that I've ever used that felt like it was so far away from the 4090 or the 90 class card that it just made me feel like I was not getting a premium experience. It's like I was getting a premium experience relatively, I guess, but when the 4090 blows away the 4080 Super so badly like it did, it kind of just leaves like a bitter pill and a bitter taste to follow. And I wanted to create a video without being negative about the 4080 Super at least just once, so let's start that right now. So the 4080 Super looks like it will be saved, in my opinion, by the DLSS 4. DLSS 4 will be giving it super resolution, and it will be giving it ray reconstruction. I've actually already used it on the new Cyberpunk. The old convolutional neural network model was done away with, and now we're going to be using the transformer model. And the transformer model, guys, I told you all that DLSS 3 looked close enough to native to me. DLSS 4 looks even like, even if you have a trained eye, and maybe unless you're Linus, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. You will notice that there's some problems that exist in DLSS 4 that don't exist in native, and some problems that exist in native that don't exist in DLSS 4. And I think a lot of that has to do with just like how bad or how weirdly optimized things have been in Cyberpunk 2077. But again, like, if you know, let me know below. You guys do a good job of that, and let everyone else know too. So the 4080 Super looks like it will be great because of DLSS 4, and it will even save a little bit of VRAM too. And you guys all know that VRAM was one of my issues with this card to begin with. But now that that VRAM issue looks like it's solved, sorry, I wouldn't say that the issue is solved. I would more say that there's a band-aid on the issue, and we'll see how it goes in the future. The 4080 Super is a perfectly capable card for those of you who just want to use 4K and ray tracing. If you want to use path tracing, this card is not for you. You need a 90 class card if you want to use path tracing. I want to use path tracing, so I will be moving on to a 90 class card. Whether the 4090 comes my way first or the 5090 ever comes my way, I'm not really sure. But I don't really like that these new 90 class GPUs are so impossible to get, and they're so overpriced, because the difference between the old Titan cards with their 80 class to 90 class cards, they were not this, there wasn't this drastic gap in between. And I'm tired of feeling like I'm missing out on an experience that I want to be a part of. I want to be a part of that 4K RT PT Ultra Enthusiast Gamer experience. And I will not be getting that with the 4080 Super, and you won't be getting that with the 5080 either. Oh, the price. The 4080 Super ended up costing me $1,083.76 in USD. I would say that is a fairly reasonable price. Not really, not for a base 80 class card, but if I'm going to pretend that it's a Super or TI class card, it's worth it. But it really isn't, but I mean, whatever. It is what it is now. There is a story behind everything. I wanted a 9800X 3D, but unfortunately that was literally impossible to get. And so I was going to get a 7800X 3D back in September. When I went to go get, when they, my Newegg had been sold out of all of them. Micro Center didn't have any. when Newegg got some more, they restocked the 7800X 3D for $450 or somewhere around that cost. And I was like, oh my God, why is it $90 more than it was last month? And it was like, oh, well, they're selling fast because everyone wants them. But don't worry, because the 9800X 3D will be right around the corner. So you don't need the 7800X 3D. And that's what I was told. And so I waited, and then the 9800X 3D came out, and they said that that would cost the same price, or it would be the same MSRP as the 7800X 3D, so just wait for that instead of paying $400 to $500 for the 7800X 3D. But the 9800X 3D, when it launched, it was already too late. It was $500, and the 7800X 3Ds were like $460. So that left me with the 9700X. The 9700X was a $360 GPU. I got it on sale for $333 and some change. That was a pretty good deal for me, just based off of how much of a ripoff the other CPUs were going for. And the 9700X is a great GPU paired with the 4080 Super. It boosts over 5 gigahertz. It's a very powerful CPU. I love it. It's great for multitasking. Would I like to have a 9800X 3D? Yeah. Would I like to have a 7800X 3D? You know it. But for $500 and $450 plus dollars, yeah, actually I still want it. I just don't have the money. For my RAM, I decided to go with this Crosshair Vengeance RAM. It's DDR5 and it's 32 gigabytes of memory. 32 gigabytes of memory is okay for gaming, but because I do content creation, I actually need 64. But with being BBG, there's not too many opportunities to make investments, but that's fine. It has RGB. It's beautiful. You've seen it. It looks pretty. You can see it now. You can see it then. You'll see in the future. A lot of people have this. It's just some basic RAM. This RAM cost me $97.99 after tax. This ended up being $105 and some change. And for my memory, I went with this. I went with the Samsung 990 Pro V-NAND SSD, Blistering Speed, Endless Victory, PCIe 4.0 NVMe M.2 SSD. What a mouthful of a name. That is what I went with. It has super fast memory. It's great. It's not the only memory storage that I have in my PC. I also have an external hard drive that's 1 terabyte, and I have a Samsung SATA drive that's 1 terabyte. I'm not listing these because they're not necessary to have, and one came out of my 1080 Ti build and the other came out of my 280 Ti build. I was just kidding about the name, but this ended up costing me $219 after tax. For my power supply unit, I decided to go with the EVGA 1000 GT. It's a 1000 watt power supply. I was getting a 4080 Super and I planned on getting a 4090 in the future. There were no other options. This 1000 watt power supply ended up costing me $162 after tax. For my AIO Liquid Master Cooler, I decided to go with this 3060L. This one looked like it had an easy to install fan and the build looked easy to do. I liked the way that the fans looked. It looked pretty. These clipped on easily. And honestly, it was the cheapest one. I found it for $90, so that's the one I went with. And it also came with its very own thermal paste. And it's supposedly some kind of a special thermal paste that needs like even less than you normally do. A lot of you guys probably know what it is, but I'm no thermal paste expert. For my motherboard, I went with this. No, I'm just kidding. I went with the B650 Pro MS. And I went with that one because it had a BIOS flash button on the back, and it was $100 open box, and I accidentally bought it, honestly, but it ended up working out well. So yeah, the mouse I went with is the ROG Sparta. The The ROG Sparta ended up costing me like, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but it was like $160 or $170. It will be posted. But anyway, the ROG Sparta, it is a great mouse. However, sorry if it's a little dirty, but there's some buttons here that are just awkward and hard to click when you come to the edge. Sorry, you guys probably can't see. There's some awkward buttons here, and they really grind my gears, but the grip here is really nice. I actually prefer to use my Logitech G502 Hero. Even though it has a cord, it has perfect grip, just the perfect trigger buttons for first-person shooters, and it's easy to carry and grip. It even has these good old-fashioned classic Rock Lee weights. The other thing about these two mouses is I have extremely huge hands, and this mouse is perfect for my hand size, and this one was a little bit tiny and a little bit clunky for me. But I do mainly use my Sparta over the Hero because Sparta costed me like 3 times more than the Hero. This was like a $30 mouse, which is a beautiful mouse, and this was definitely worth it, but like honestly this kind of ruins it for me. If you look very closely here, you can see this GPU stand. I purchased this GPU stand for $14 just to simply hold my GPU. So as you can see, the one to the left is screwed up and messed up beyond belief, and I obviously didn't do a good job of setting that up, but we'll just ignore that and don't pay any attention to it. Here you can see my PCIe cable. I bought this for $21. It looks great. The original one was big, ugly, and bulky, as I'm sure a lot of you had noticed before, but this one is thin, sexy, little, and black, and it looks nice. A little bit of a ripoff for $21, but it is what it is these days. This is my Antec C5 case. I got it for $129.99. I'll put the exact totals after taxes up there in the video. I love this case. A lot of people ask me about it. It's just a big, sexy aquarium case. There's not really much to it than that. It just looks aesthetically pleasing. And I needed a case that could hold this big card. I think it holds a max of 410 millimeters, and I wanted a nice, sexy looking fish tank case. And I also liked how it had like the nice little LED strip going along the side. And I just like how it had like a nice little premium feel to it, especially the fans already being pre-installed, and non-cheap filling filters really made a big deal for this too. This keyboard is some basic Razer keyboard. It's some bootleg spider type thing, and I got this for $70. This is a 1440p Acer monitor. I got this monitor for about $170. Again, I don't know the exact top off the price of my head, but I will list it above. I do like this monitor. I actually downgraded to a 1440p monitor because having the 480 Super, it made it a little harder to actually like game in 4K. That wasn't really a thing. So yeah, here's my monitor. So how much did my PC end up costing? You would think I would know this. I just knew it was going to cost me around $25, and I just closed my eyes and started purchasing everything. But my PC ended up costing me $2,298.39. So pretty much my computer ended up costing me $2,300. And that's without the mouse, keyboard, and monitor. If you were looking to see what a 480 Super build would cost with a monitor and keyboard and mouse, and it's your first time building a PC, it came out to $2,682.60. And then another thing is like obviously like a DisplayPort cable. If you're coming from a console, you would want to get a DisplayPort cable instead of or in addition to your HDMI, because you're going to be able to maximize all your FPS with a higher refresh rate with the DisplayPort cable. Okay, so again, it's a $2,300 build. You can buy 4090s for that price, and you'll be able to buy, you probably won't even be able to buy a 5090 for that price after the scalpers get them. So yeah, that's it. The Finny games are over for today. Thank you for seeing my PC build. This was long overdue. I appreciate you all.
this is like common sense. The more GPUs you buy, the more money you save. That's right, the more GPUs you buy, the more money you save. Work with me here. The more you buy, the more you save. That's right, work with me here. The more you buy, the more you save. This is not a complicated talk. There are only two messages I want to deliver today. One of them is, the more you buy, the more you save. Okay, all right, there'll be a quiz at the end. There are only two themes in this conference. That's right. The more you buy, the more you save. Okay, this front row's got